Welcome to Life Support Live, the weekly Star Trek show that explores how we can boldly go in our own lives, better ourselves, and the rest of humanity.
As a famous starship captain once said, with a slight Franco-British accent. And then, of course, there's another soon-to-be even more famous captain once said also, wherever our mission takes us, we will try to have a little fun along the way.
I think there was a lot of fun that was had this week, Larry. We got a lot to talk about. And hello, everyone. I am psychologist Dr. Ali Mattu.
And I'm Dr. Trek, Larry Nemecek. One of us is a real doctor.
And as always, we'll let you figure out who that might be. Welcome on this week's episode number 68. 68, Larry. Coming up on that 75. We
Life Support Live is much as is at a retirement age now, but we're still here.
Oh man, yeah, we're still here. We're still kicking it. We are going to be talking about Cool Under Pressure, inspired by this week's episode of Star Trek Lower Decks, where every storyline came back. There was an A plot, B plot, and a C plot, Larry, and they were all about being cool under pressure. We're going to be talking about that. So let us know in the comments, what is your favorite Star Trek episode involving having to be cool under pressure or not? Someone who was not cool under pressure.
Not cool.
Not cool. No, totally not cool. Larry, if this is the first time here for anyone, what can you tell folks what we're doing here?
No, I've been here before.
Have you?
Yeah.
Oh. Well.
Oh, damn. Anybody else?
Yes.
Oh, I see.
In the cloud.
Yes. Okay. No. No. Despite Ollie's empty shelves there, no, we have done this before.
I'm working on. There's more stuff than last week.
There is. There's just random stack stuff back up there last year. No, everybody. Hey, if we've got veterans, our lifers are in the chat, you'll see that happening. Make sure you got the chat open, because that's where a lot of the fun happens, a lot of the interaction happens. But Ollie and I are here geeking out with you every week on Trek stuff that also might apply to some help in your daily life. But yes, that's what Life Support Live is all about. We are going boldly through uncertain times. We are. In a show born of the pandemic, and we are still going boldly because things are still uncertain. They probably always will be. I guess that's the definition of life. But we're here to offer support. Yay.
And we do it live. It's great to see some familiar faces as well as some new faces.
And thanks for following us to another Sunday, guys and gals.
Yeah. Thanks for being on our special day. Chawil 713. This is honestly such a cool stream. I wish I'd tuned in more often. Well, thanks for being here.
I too. I wish you tuned in more often too.
Yeah, that's true. Oh man, Nathaniel. Yes, I am the goddess of empathy.
I miss your green dress. The green goddess.
I know. Oh, I am the goddess of empathy. Yeah. So, and Nathaniel also says, let's face it, Cisco is all about showing his emotions on his sleeve. There's a lot of cool under pressure. Yeah.
Yes. Well, I need to say, this is a little bit like last week's theme, because it's like, well, this is Star Trek given to you in little 60-minute doses or 42-minute doses or 25-minute doses. Right. And part of the appeal of drama is having the exciting, climax where someone has to do something cool under pressure. So it's a little bit of a cheat. It's like, well, when is somebody not cool under pressure on Star Trek? There's a little bit of that going on, but I think we can hit some highlights.
I think we'll hit some highlights.
This is another one where it's like, oh my God, if we don't get our arms around this and have some parameters, we could be here all day, because that's kind of the nature of the beast.
Yeah, we got to contain that warp core a little bit. As Tim says, under pressure. Under pressure. Do. Don't want to add the other beat, otherwise then you've got Ice Ice Baby there. And Christoph asks, how much embarrassment does it take for Larry or Ali to duplicate? I think it would be a lot at this point. I mean, we've done 68 episodes, haven't duplicated yet. Nothing.
After one or two of these alien names, it's like they have no shame now. And there used to be a thing for Star Trek. I remember Jerry Taylor saying the hardest part of writing Star Trek was coming up with alien names and races and proper. But these guys have no shame. I mean, it's like, oh, they duplicate. Let's call them the duplers. It's like,
The
oh,
Duplers.
whenever,
Larry,
yeah.
I'm I just made that connection right now.
Well, we are here to serve all.
The Dupler, that makes sense. I understand now why they're called the Duplers. Oh man, let me on that note, let me just pour some more coffee
Well,
here.
you do that because I was going to share that
Please share
Under
something.
Pressure in Freddie Mercury might be one of these. But when I saw, every time I see this written out, ever since we came up with it, I think of Cool Operator.
Oh yeah,
But he's cool under pressure. Yeah.
that works too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah.
Cool under pressure. Okay.
Glinda says, "I'm not graceful under pressure or otherwise." Neither are we, Glinda, as you can see, obviously from this. So, Larry, it
So,
was kind of catching up. It's been a big week. It was we had Star Trek Day. A lot of stuff coming out there. We got some new. I know you did.
I should have brought a prop in, and I didn't do it. I should have showed off something. But anyway, no, it was a big for the folks that got to go to it live here in LA. It was an impressive deal.
Doing it
Yeah.
live. It was
We.
nice to see a Star Trek, an official Star Trek
Mm-hmm.
event that's happening live. It's been a while. We got some announcements out of that. We got some new trailers for everything. 7 of 9 is driving a 2013 Ford Explorer, so there's that.
Oh,
Uh,
that. Yeah.
but
I
we
was thinking
also
about the return of Uhura and Chapel and Dr.
That's what I
M'Benga
was gonna
on.
say.
Yeah.
That's what I was gonna say. There's a lot of cool Star Trek news. So if folks haven't checked it out, all the videos are all on YouTube. Paramount Plus has released them all, and yeah, and we had was it the 55th? Are we on 55?
Yes, we were on
Wow.
55.
I just
Double nickels. Yes, as we
50
used.
just feels like yesterday. I remember the 50th anniversary quite well.
That's what I was amazed at. It's not that Star Trek's been around 55 years. It's been 5 years since the 50th, which was
Yeah,
like the end all be all to everything.
that's a big
But
year.
if you think about the 50th, it feels like it was just the other day and a big thing. But the 50th happened about 9 months into us knowing there would be a return of Star Trek that was
Yes.
eventually called Discovery.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how far back that was. Everything, this
Wow.
explosion of Trek has happened since the 50th, which is kind of amazing.
Yeah, yeah, and now here we are. We're awaiting the fourth season of that in 5 years. Yeah, it's a lot has changed. A lot of stuff's been going on. But wow, yeah. Well, here's to 55 years of boldly
Yes.
going, Larry.
Oh, KSC. Yes, very good.
Um, and also we had Lower Decks. So let's kind of get into it here, folks. Let's open up that briefing room.
Yes.
And this is the part of the show where we do a deeper dive into the Star Trek canon. This is also the part of the show where
It
Ali.
sounds so distinguished. Now it's time for a deeper dive into Star Trek canon. You mean we're going to stay around and talk about Trek stuff? Yeah, that's what we're going to do. Okay.
In the briefing room. That's where we're going to do it. So we don't have any cool PowerPoint presentations like usually happen on the 1701D, but we're still going to do our briefing room. So what we're going to do is deeper dive into episodes and examples of Cool Under Pressure. We're going to bring it back around to what we can how we can learn from this. And Larry, I was just I really was struck by this week. It's not always that this happens in Star Trek that the A and B plot are so tied together. And sometimes in New Trek, we don't even have a B plot. It's all just
Right.
A.
Right.
Just like A really fast. A lot of fast, like a lot of A is happening.
In 25 mintes, 22 minutes, you've only got room for like one plot, barely, much less two. But they have to do. They do
Unless
too.
you're in Lower Decks this week, where we had oh whoops, let me bring this on over here. So we had not only this A plot of Boimler and Mariner on their
Back together. So much of that. So much for let's pair them up cross currents and involve everybody differently. We're back to main impetus here to get those two together.
and is that Argo in the back, Larry?
It looks Argo like.
Yeah. I love that. So we had this storyline going on a starbase. We had another storyline happening here with the senior staff. And then, not to be outdone, but as you said, the Duplers. we had a storyline
Which
there
was
too,
yeah, yeah.
involving them, and they all sort of came back to these moments of characters having to act quickly under a lot of pressure. And something I'll talk about in the counselor's log at the moment is both stress and anxiety, but also anger in some of these situations. So this is something we started thinking about, and I mean, yeah, this is to some degree, this is so many episodes of Star Trek, but there are some key moments where we had people in these critical roles either acting very well under that type of pressure or not so well.
Yes.
So let's talk about those.
So I just wanted to. No, but again, like I said, on one hand, you could go, well, every episode has somebody being cool under pressure. That's how you get the drama. But yeah, there was some highlight. There's some, I think, some highlights, especially over 55 years. There are times when things, and I know that our lifers community. And again, if you're new to the show, please jump in here if you haven't figured it out. Our chat's very active. The lifers are great, and they'll have a lot of good ideas too. And I should move my screen so I can read chat again. Yeah, but and if we go roughly in chronological order,
Yeah.
I thought this is a great time to speak up for my guy because it's one of the most pivotal moments in Star Trek that I think gets overlooked a lot. It's when, how many times McCoy actually saved the day, and this was one where he saved the franchise. Because if Kirk and Spock had died off early, it wouldn't have been much of a series, much less a franchise. So no, the moment under pressure when he realizes what he can do to save both of his friends with the good old triox there and well, fake, it's not really triox. He fakes Kurt's death so that he and Spock can exit there from Vulcan in good stead without looking like one of them had to kill the other one in a moral combat. So anyway, it's the old story, but it's again, he had to come up with
It's the old story of a human
Yes.
Vulcan having to fake a death. It's as
Oh,
old
well,
as time itself, really. This
yes.
story.
Tale as old as time. Yeah. He's a
Captain
cool
and the
French-
Vulcan.
Okay.
So this is a cool example
There's
too.
that story of a captain and his Vulcan. Oh, I'm sorry. That was.
Who was beaming down to a very, very hot planet.
I'm sorry. I did. Okay.
And we've lost the global audience.
Had blood of green.
And
Okay.
they called it the Enterprise Bunch. Okay, now back to this example, folks. I like this example a lot, Larry, because this is yeah. Every now and then you come up with some good stuff.
I try. Someday I'm gonna get there. Someday.
You keep trying, kid. There's a bright future here for you in the Life Support Live stream. So what I like about this example is McCoy is having to think fast, but this is also what he's really been trained for. One of the things that is really cool about physicians and physician training is it's not like they're getting trained in classrooms. It's a lot of it is field work, is having to work, do these rotations in ER, and McCoy is someone who's not only had like emergency room kind of experience, but he's done so much exo
I was
medical.
gonna say,
Yeah.
exo emergency. That was
Yeah.
exactly what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
So
And this is his this is not so much a crisis point as much as it is a lot of his everyday
last
life.
season.
Yeah, that was last season. This is what he has been trained for and how he's been trained, and he's simply doing what he's been trained to do. So
Just doing my job.
just doing my job.
Yep.
So I love that example, and that's also, many of us when we're having to make really tough decisions in a quick amount of time, when it comes to like a job we know well, most of the times we can rise to the occasion as McCoy does. It's great.
I don't know if Starfleet Medical has a class in in alien culture deathmatch survival strategies. But okay, I take your point. Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's if you McCoy is an expert, right? He's not a fresh out of the academy. This is no Kelvin timeline. This is a experienced Bones over here. And so the way what one of the things that comes along with the more experience you have is your schema, your kind of mental map of these concepts. It becomes more and more complicated, and you're able to make more and more connections. If your memory and knowledge is like a web, over time with more experience, that web becomes more and more complicated, and you can make faster connections here. And I think that's what we're kind of seeing with
You-
Bones is yeah. This is a high level pressure. This is not an everyday situation. It involves his best friends, and
Well,
he's got so much experience to draw from.
yeah.
He can be cool
Well,
under pressure because of his
you
training.
have to be there, or else you're not third banana on the show that gets chosen for a TV series on the ship that gets.
You don't want to be, if I was going to be third banana, I'd be happy to be third banana to Spock. And
Peel 'em, Bones. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, no, I mean, again, we can go through and see lots of grace under. To me, grace under pressure or cool under pressure, or either one. But either one, it's more like there's pressure that you study for. I guess I just stumbled onto something here. There's pressure that you study for, and there's pressure that it's like, how could I have foreseen this? But when you have 82 of those in a row, well, I wasn't prepared for this, but you survived. I guess maybe that's why they're the only ship that came back after 5 years. It's,
what happened to all the other ships?
well, maybe we should start. It's kind of like the 500-year floods under global warming are now happening twice a year. It's like maybe we should redefine that term.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm
yeah.
laughing hollowly here on this, but
Charlotte says cool under pressure on the animated series when all the men are hoodwinked by that female species, and she
mhm.
takes Uhura's cool. I'm sorry, I said Uhura's cool under pressure on TAS when all the men are hoodwinked by the female species, and she takes command of the ship and saves the day.
Mhm. With Chapel as her like number one because they're the only ones allowed to talk, even on even on a cartoon.
Well, we're about to hear a lot more from them. In
Yes,
from both of them
absolutely,
in
totally.
in
Yes, yes.
Strange New Worlds. I'm so excited. Gosh, their new uniforms look so good. So excited. Very excited
And you
for.
just can't hide it.
I
Yeah.
just get on it. I know. I'm gonna binge that show. I can't binge it. It comes out weekly. There's no binging here. Move page 2. Keeping up with the original crew, let's talk about Kirk in Wrath of Khan. And so Wrath of Khan immediately came to mind, and it's not for the Khan. This is my communicator.
Oh,
Khan.
okay.
It's not for that, but it kind of is, Larry, because it's a little bit of a show that Kirk is putting on at that point. And what you drew from right here in this moment, this is
Hmm.
really Kirk revealing his plan, right? What is it? Hours are minutes, and minutes. What's
Yeah,
the
hours would seem like days,
hours are days, and
or days would seem like yeah, it's out.
it's
Yeah.
something in minutes. Someone's gonna correct us. We're totally butchering it. But he's kind of revealing his plan here, and then he has had a plan all along of how to get out of the situation, and that happens twice. Not only in terms of getting out of the Genesis cave over there and everything that they've orchestrated. But then when Spock makes the analysis of Khan, kind of really thinking in 2-dimensional terms here,
Mhm.
in more traditional non-space combat. Um, there's
Yes.
there's many moments here where both Kirk and Spock are being very methodical in what astronauts would say, like work the problem. If there's a
Right.
big crisis that's happening, work the problem. What's the first thing we need to solve in order to continue
Right.
surviving? Then what's the next thing? What's the
Work
next
the
thing?
problem, people.
Work
Yes.
the yeah. They're definite. They're definitely doing that here. Whereas Khan is really relentless in his pursuit of revenge and is in a much more emotional side to his detriment, I would say.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well, he lost his peak form there from Space Seed. He just woke up and he was all fresh. Here
Yeah.
he's had 15 years to stew,
I mean, you're gonna stew when you're buried alive. Buried
I'm
alive.
just giving you all the room there. Just giving you all the space.
Thank you. I will suck it up because I am a vacuum.
Mm.
All right.
Could you do
Page.
one thing for me?
I will
Could you,
do two things for you.
is it possible to tilt your camera where it doesn't look you're sinking into quicksand? Okay, that's for some reason that's really been okay. Yay!
How's that? Is that better?
Sit up straight, boy. Look alive. Look alive.
I'm sorry. I'm just really sleepy today, Doc. Just really
All right.
sleepy.
Just poke you a little. Okay. No, it's good. Jared, something back about. Is this going to be just like last week when you're barely clinging onto the topic with no prep? I would have you know, sir, we worked on this episode twice as much as we did last week.
That's true.
So,
That's true.
yeah.
And Larry and I cling on like nobody's business. That's right.
I'm not even going to top that one. Let's just go.
Page 3. Let's move on to TNG, and I think we mentioned this episode last week or another week, Larry. But The Wounded.
The Wounded is just a great show for many reasons to me.
It's a fantastic episode. What are some of those many reasons?
I am not a big technophile when it comes to production, but even way back then, as it happened, the climax of the show is where O'Brien diffuses. This is Captain Maxwell, who's gone rogue. He's righteously gone rogue, but he's gone rogue, and that's the problem. He's right, but for all the he's right, but he does not for all the wrong reasons, but he's right and takes all the wrong actions about it.
Yeah. I think that's fair. Yeah.
But the climax is his old crewmate,
O'Brien,
his old crew person, O'Brien, is the link that Picard uses because he can't go captain to captain. That's they're banging heads. So he uses O'Brien, the trust factor there. The two of them shared, Maxwell and O'Brien, to diffuse the situation. And the scene in Maxwell's ready room, there's one when they sing the Minstrel Boy, this song to reach each other. And at the same time, not only is it a song moment, which is interesting, but the camera does this long pan around them. And it's just amazing to me. And I remember thinking when I saw it the first time, oh my God, they just used, that was a great camera move and a great moment that just made the whole thing awesome. But we talked about our theme being cool under pressure. There are also examples of people not being cool under pressure. So I guess O'Brien was cool under pressure there. But at the same time, we got kickstarted here with a captain that had lost it, who was not cool under. He had the right idea that the Cardassians were being, they were breaking the treaty, the new treaty. But he was just going to go blow them out of the sky, and that wasn't going to help anything.
So if we could, Dr. Trek, I'm going to.
He was a Baptin then, not a bad role, but he was a Baptin.
A Baptin. We don't get a lot of Baptins in Star Trek. They usually become like Maquis or something.
Yeah, we've had Bombadors too, one of my favorites, Decker. But
yeah.
He's a Baptin here, which is the problem.
So I'm going to ask Dr. Trek to play the role of Dr. Troy, who plays the role of Dr. Ali. If we could if we could go back, what would have it look like for him to be cool under pressure? Like what should he have done differently besides like not killing Cardassians and attacking them? Like
blow out the sky. Well, I don't. You're the real doctor. If he's got information, what he thinks. Well, he's also convinced that Starfleet's going to go bureaucratic and protect the treaty at all costs and innocent people, all that stuff. So I've got to go. Which that's what the hallmark of going rogue is. It's like, well, I can't depend on the system to get what should be done. I'm going to make things. I'm going to be vigilante here. I'm gonna go off and do it myself, and I've got all my holier than thou reasons. I have all my, in my mind, they're very rational reasons, and maybe we only saw one guy on that ship.
Yeah, I know.
We didn't see what the rest of his crew was doing. But anyway, but he's it's a little bit like the Pegasus also, where you had the
Yeah.
famously in that episode where you've got most of the crew going along up until a certain point, and then the more senior staff rebel, and then you're wound up with the captain and like the junior officers that are going to believe in him. So yeah, it's a complicated thing, and it just dawned on me how we don't ever see anybody else from his crew. But did anybody stand up? Did the system also that's
Yeah, we
supposed to
don't
design
know.
against something like this happening? Did any of that work, and did that fail? Apparently, it did. So he's on his own giving orders. People are following them, and he's shooting at Cardassian. So what he should have done differently was report it up the chain, send it
Yeah.
to command and to intelligence, and let them decide. But that wasn't good enough because he's a man of action.
Yeah, so it makes me think about Star Trek Insurrection, and just because I was going to make a dumb joke here about Insurrection, and then I actually started thinking about it. I'm like, how does this compare to Insurrection? And I think one of the differences here with the Wounded is, and remind me of his name again, Larry? Captain
Maxwell.
Maxwell? Yeah, Captain
Yes.
Maxwell. So his actions really aren't going to have a major impact on this issue he's concerned with. Like, what is one ship against the Cardassian Union? Are they a
Yeah.
union? Yeah, the
Mm.
Cardassian. It's not going to. So he wants to expose this treachery, but like, to what end? And I think the difference here with Picard in Insurrection is, I think Picard believed he could stop this process from happening, but it's kind of a similar situation. It was Picard was going to go down, and Riker was going to take the Enterprise to try to get the word out. Um,
Hmm.
and is Captain Maxwell's decision here that different? I mean, more people die actually as a result of Maxwell's actions, but I don't know. Are they that different? I'm having a hard time now.
Bang, bang, Maxwell's all gone rogue and it's going to cause a fuss. Bang, bang, Maxwell's all gone rogue and it's sure to be a bust. Um,
That was throwback.
this is sad when I get enough sleep.
No,
It's a classic. What do you mean? No, I,
it's a great one.
I hadn't even thought about applying, Picard's gone rogue at least twice, once on a movie budget. Um, but, but,
What's the other episode?
huh?
What's the other episode you're thinking of?
No, you know what? I'm thinking of the series. I'm
Oh,
sorry.
of
It's on
Star
a
Trek
movie
Picard.
series. Yeah, one of them's on a newfangled streaming series budget. One's
That
just
one of them sits on top of a mountain of content. I, I'll never let them forget that. Um,
it's Star Trek. Okay.
um, sure.
No,
I guess he did go rogue.
thought about that. What you're saying is that the difference between Picard going rogue and Maxwell doing it is Picard's in very pointed situations where time is of the essence. There are very personal variables going on. There's only 500 of these people. It's a one-time thing. The steps, the situation that's happening is irreversible. There are dominoes falling.
Yeah.
It can't be restacked later on. Maxwell's bopping around here. Cardassians could break treaty terms, and the world wouldn't have ended. That's what
So
you're saying.
yeah, that gets us back to our theme. So thank you for bringing us back on course, Larry. When I set a course for, I don't know, I was going towards Europa. We need to get out of the solar system here. I think what the difference here is, Picard had a somewhat rational plan that might get him to a specific desired goal, whereas Maxwell does seem to be more erratic and is acting in a much more emotional way, and hasn't really thought things through. Like, what is the logical end that Captain Maxwell has in
Hmm.
this situation?
Well, it's like he's shooting off flares, but he's shooting off flares at people instead of into the sky. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Maxwell, Captain Maxwell. Moving right along. We
Yeah.
had a couple other TNG suggestions. Linda said Beverly was cool under pressure when she got caught in Wesley's warp bubble. It's always tricky when one gets caught in one of those. I know I've lost my cool in a warp bubble from time to time. Not so much with Ronan until he attacked Nana. That is another episode that we could dive into someday.
Oh, you know what I did? I was thinking of the actor, and I've gone blank on his name. But then later on he played Shakar on DS9, and I was like, that was a great leap there. He attacked Nana, but he didn't. It was mutual. They liked. Oh wait, you're talking about yeah.
Oh yeah.
Reading too much into it there.
And then Phil brought up one of our show's favorite recurring characters here, Barkley. Usually pulls it off in the end, but definitely not Grace under pressure. Yeah, he kind of he's the opposite here, Larry, who does tend to kind of collapse in on himself under pressure, but then really through the support of his community is able to kind of come back up. And then Libby said Worf wears his emotions on his head ridges. I think Worf is one who is both very cool under pressure and also not. And sometimes it depends on the situation. Sometimes it depends on the series.
When you can tell when Worf's being cool under pressure because he has a pithy sentence line, like cool tea, nice house.
Larry doesn't have. I was just about to say that one. Well.
Ooh, well.
Mind meld.
Well, there's not enough room on this show for the two of us, I guess. Okay.
I love that line so much; it cracks me up. Just his Michael Dorn's delivery in that moment is just.
That was some pretty good mask acting there, Michael. That was pretty good. Yep.
Who among us has not been in that situation and just wants to say nothing and just wants to...
When you're visiting the last two people of an alien race, but one of them's really a fake in a lonely house.
It's awkward.
In a lonely house on a lonely planet. Two people.
It's very awkward. And then Tim also says Data, being an android devoid of emotions, wouldn't have the distraction of being under pressure. So Tim, I like your... Yeah, go for it, Larry.
No, I was going to say, although I was just thinking this, one of the other case that I sent you from Imagery was Data under pressure, because you would that was the first thing. First I thought of the moment, and then I went, well, no, wait a minute. He's an android. Of course he's always going to be cool under pressure. But then what if he is in one of those growth moments for Data where he exceeds the sum of his programming?
Yeah. Which
is a case that I threw out there.
I don't think I have this image. Which episode are you talking about?
It's a two-shot. It's Redemption when he's in in command of the.
Larry, I don't think I have it, but this is the episode we talked about. Yeah, this one. What's great about this episode is, it does seem like I'm Google imaging it now. And all that's coming up are the Playmate toys. Apparently, there's a toy of Data from Redemption.
Yeah, I didn't. I can't believe that. Wait, did you? Now I'm just asking this. I'm looking at the file of pictures I sent you. Did you get the K2s? The K3s came through okay?
I got one K3.
I sent you two. This is weird. Well, they're showing up as blip images on my email, so I'm a little PO'd. Okay.
You're the presiding officer now. So this episode is really wonderful, and folks might remember this one as this is the episode where Data is in command. I don't remember the name of his starship. I know it's a Nebula class vessel. Do you remember the ship he gets in?
I was just shoot.
It'll come back.
It's two or three. It's 3 or 4 syllables.
Yeah, someone in the chat is going to remember this episode. But here we have is that his first officer, or was this someone else?
Yeah, it's his first officer, his tactical officer at least. Yeah.
Yeah. So he is a bit wary. The Sutherland. It's
the
Sutherland, USS Sutherland. Thank you, Charlotte, for that. So Data, it's not a seamless process here for Data. To take command here, especially when you have a first officer who is a bit apprehensive about an android being in command.
About androidist.
Yeah, yeah. And I see in this episode, I see Data both being a bit uncool under pressure because he doesn't quite know how to deal with this process and what to say and do. But then also Data becoming very cool under pressure, being very directive when he is giving these commands, being very clear with what he expects to have happen.
Yeah, on one hand, it's really easy to jump on his tactical guy there, but on the other hand, it's still a matter of you got big old Starfleet, and Data's the only android officer. I mean,
Yeah.
I can, we see it. Some people jump on Pulaski all the time, but she came at it where most people are. Most people, when they would encounter Data, I would think, and it's not like Lower Decks where, oh, they're all heroes by now, and he killed himself. He gave his life by that time. This is still the early days of, and apparently Data. This is what always kills me about the Data backstory. He spent like 20 years just learning or something from the time they found him, right, until he starts to blossom with Picard. It's like, well, what about when he was on the Tripoli, and what about when he was at the Academy, and what about like what he just was like stagnating all those years, or it just took programming to hit a critical mass point, and then he's going to blossom with Picard and Riker and Geordi. That's it's like the missing. I want to see a series about young Data, like young Sheldon or something.
Yeah, and this is what I think we see
But
with.
here you go. This is what's happening. Yeah.
Yeah, I think this is exactly what we see with Data, and we see it, in different moments, whether he's learning how to dance or learning about relationships. Um, this Data doesn't have an emotion chip until later, and we can definitely talk about those examples, and the chat already has. We've got. Phil was mentioning first in First Contact when Data's like, he starts to feel all that anxiety, apprehension, and Picard says, "You should turn off your emotion chip." And Tim says, "Data, there are days I envy you." There are those examples where Data's able to turn it off, but Data under pressure is more when he's in new situations where he hasn't really learned what's the protocol, what do I do. He's clunky in those situations.
Mm-hmm.
It's not seamless. He doesn't perform as well. And we kind of see this in Redemption, Data learning how to overcome a new task. And this kind of takes me back to what we were talking about with Bones in the beginning here. Bones has had a lot of experience on away missions doing emergency medicine. He has a lot of practice with this. It's not a choppy process for him. And for all of us, whenever we're learning a new thing, we don't do it well. And I think, Larry, something that happens to a lot of us is there are times where we're trying to learn a new thing when the
Mm-hmm.
pressure is high. So, for example,
Huh.
the time to
Huh.
learn how to
Huh.
fix a plumbing problem is usually not when your toilet is overflowing, right? Like, you're not performing well unless you're a plumber or you have a lot of experience doing those fixes. You're performing very badly. And I think that's true for all of us, but we kind of see that with Data. Like when he's like in Redemption, the stakes are high, and he's not the best CO at first. He's got to learn fast.
Right. Well, he's being very by the book. He knows all the things to say and when to say them. But the human interactive element and the
Yes.
fact that he himself is an issue.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what I was trying to say a minute ago was that crew reaction to him was not unexpected, and somewhere in
Right.
his programming that should have been factored in. I mean, he finally stumbled into it, but the guy was not a bad guy. He comes off that way, and they need him for the frictional drama point. But it really still is a radically amazing, insanely new thing. And you kind of see. I mean, Lower Decks really brings this out, but you kind of saw it. I mean, that's the kind of thing that's happened. Starfleet, yeah, thank you. You have subspace radio. I don't know if there's big officer convention, after parties all the time, where all the in between gets passed around by word of mouth. But it is a big fleet, and these things do travel slowly. And you might have heard about Data, you might have read the newsletter, but but to actually experience it in the flesh, not everyone's going to have that chance for years and years and years and years. And I just there's times when, we jump on these people being, racist with data or speciesist with data, but it's like it is a radical move. And same thing happened with the doctor later on when he started to become famous with like the
Right.
author, the authority, the authorness, but the authorness when he struck out as an author. But anyway, it's like it's a reaction away. It's something radical. Well, it's Star Trek. They're supposed to be looking at new life. I know it's like, yeah, but that's almost too close to home.
Yeah.
Sometimes
Well,
the things that are closest to you are the different. Yeah.
it's the first officer does come around at the end. And he
Hmm.
and I think that's the Star Trek lesson. The Star Trek lesson isn't always like always be utopic. The Star Trek lesson is also about aspirational and reaching for that understanding. I think so much of what I got from the Next Generation, if I could summarize the Next Generation in like 2 words, it'd probably be intellectual humility. That's a lot of what Picard stands for me is you never really know the experience of other people.
Mm.
And let's stay humble in trying to understand where other people are coming from. And that's where redemption lands for me with Data is the great Star Trek moment is not that there was always complete tolerance. Oh, look, everyone was so inclusive. The Star Trek moment for me is people being humble and saying I was wrong
And turning the corner. Yeah.
and I'm sorry I made a mistake. That's where Star Trek goes for me. It's you're reaching and then getting to that point. It's not that we're always at that point.
Well, that's also the morality tale aspect of it.
Yes.
It's not just that the episodes and the plots are metaphors. It's like, well, what are you gonna do with that metaphor? Well, this is a cool metaphor. Let me put it on my metaphor shelf. I'll put it in my ready room. Here's all my metaphors.
Do you have any metaphor? I have a lot of space. I can put them on my metaphor shelf right back over there.
That needs to be a Lower Decks thing. Hey, Mike, are you listening? The metaphor shelf. That should be something somewhere. No, it's like it's not just that you see it and go, oh, there's one.
Yep.
It's that what are you going to do with that? And we say, well, we talk about them being parables and all of that, but the parable is to teach.
Yeah.
So there's going to be a teachable moment. It's not just enough to show it.
Yeah.
You've got to turn the corner and let the audience come along with you. And,
Speaking of teachable moments, Nathaniel here says it does take machines longer to learn from experience than humans, according to cognitive science, or more precisely, it takes many more experiences for a machine to learn as opposed to human. Yeah, something that's kind of all the rage
once they've got it, they'll take over.
One of the things that's been very hot recently in tech is machine learning, ideas of AI, artificial intelligence, all of these things. But I think what often doesn't get mentioned is what Nathaniel just said over here. It takes these machines and these algorithms a lot of data to learn. And so what machine learning really is about is like throwing machines at a massive amount of data and trying to teach them these different connections. You need a lot of that data to be able to help computers to understand visual patterns, which humans can do much faster. So I think it makes sense that data will be clunky in the first time he's doing a new situation. But once he's experienced a lot of things like an away mission and picking up on threats, Data is going to be super fast and super accurate at that. But Data has had like zero experience commanding, so I think that's a great example, Nathaniel. Thanks for tying it. Thanks for tying our 19. Was that episode? I think the episode was early 90s. Thanks for tying our early 90s episode with 2021 tech.
It was the first season, fourth season. It was the fourth season premiere. So it was the climax to. It was the part 2 to the cliffhanger from the end of the fourth season. So I guess it's fifth season premiere.
So 1990.
Yes.
90?
Well,
I don't know.
hold on a minute. 88, 89, 90, 1990, 91.
91.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is before
It's
Undiscovered Countries, so
88, 89,
that would make
89,
sense.
90,
Yeah.
90, yeah, 91.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, this is a few months before Undiscovered Country.
Yeah.
And this has been bugging me, and I finally had to look it up because it's been a while since I thought about it. We kept saying his guy. That is the first office. Data's first officer. It's his name's Christopher Hobson, but Chris Hobson was a good friend of Ron Moore that wrote the show. So
Oh,
that's yeah.
there you
So
go.
it's Hobson, which is a great name to kind of go over. But it was said in, it was an original honorarium. So yeah. Anyway, so that's yes. There's a mini K3 for you.
Hey, I will take any K3 I can
Mhm.
get. Break me off a piece of that K3 bar. So here we go to Deep Space Nine.
Quickly.
So just to give you a little background, Larry was asking
We
me.
know, we know you love DS9. We
Yeah,
know.
yeah. Larry's like, look, we know you love DS9. Give me a good DS9 episode. And I'm like, you want a good episode of DS9? And I said, and Larry said, yeah. And I'm like, well, Larry, I will give you an episode that has both cool and uncool under pressure for Benjamin Sisko. And that episode is
Your hair, sir. Okay.
that was my very bad impression of Cisco. Uh,
Oh, oh, that's what that
in
was.
case you're wondering. Oh man, I love Deep Space Nine so much. Take me out to the holosuite, Larry. I love this
Wait,
episode.
that's not a matter of life and death, peace and